Hi everybody, it's Tatia, and I am going to be reviewing Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. I read this in October. This is the sequel to Parable of the Sower, and I have been struggling with actually doing a review of this because, number one, it's a sequel, and I don't want to spoil anything, and because of my connection to Octavia E. Butler and the connection that I felt with the main character in the novel, I kind of don't want to be biased. So bear with me as I do this, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to start with talking about Parable of the Sower. I read this maybe 4 years ago as an audiobook. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I have yet to read an Octavia Butler novel that I don't like. But the connection that I felt with Lauren Olamina really took me by surprise. This is where we get to know Lauren. It takes place in 2024. It starts July 20th, 2024, and the world has basically gone to shit. It is a post-apocalyptic novel, and this follows Lauren in her attempt to survive after she loses her entire family to fire and craziness of human society. And it's as a teenager, just going out in the world on her own, trying to survive, trying to find a safe haven, and creating her own religion, her own faith in the course of doing that. And as you read this, there are excerpts from a book that she's written called Earthseed, the Books of the Living, which is like the Bible for her faith, which is a whole nother situation. But this is where we get to know who Lauren is and see her as she develops into the woman that we come back to meet in Parable of the Talents. And as a result of reading Parable of the Sower, there are so many interviews that I have tried to find and that I have watched and read of Octavia Butler. And one of the things that I either heard or read that she said, I want to say I heard it, was her talking about as a child, her growing up, and her mother being a maid for white families in the South, and she didn't like it, basically. And so one of the things that she did once she started writing was to write strong women, strong black women, because she did not feel that she had any of her own that she could look up to. And I get that in Lauren Olamina. So when we get to Parable of the Talents, we've established who Lauren is, who her friends are, who she's in relationship with, and so this is the steps beyond that. And there's an outside force that comes against any religion that's not their understanding or their manipulation of Christianity. And which I am now intrigued to go look at, I've never found anything about Octavia Butler's faith-based. I'm really intrigued about that now after reading this novel and the way that the Christians in this novel were portrayed. And again, it's not an all Christian situation. It's a group of Christians that end up creating this almost cult-based system, and they come against the other religions or faith bases out there that seem to be different, that they feel are cult-based as well. And Lauren Olamina and her friends get caught up in that, and she has to make the decision of what she is willing to sacrifice, who she's willing to sacrifice, what she can do without, and some of those decisions she has to make herself. Some of those things are forced upon her. So there's a new voice in this novel, and I don't like them. Page 2, I didn't like this new perspective, or this person who the new perspective comes from. So yeah, but that again doesn't take away from the story, because even though you have this person's perspective, you still get Lauren's story and in Lauren's voice, as well as some other voices who are new to this story, but they appear and are introduced in Parable of the Sower. So if you follow me on Snapchat, you saw when I finished this during the Dewey 24-hour readathon, I had to pause after I finished this because I was in this world. There are parts in this novel that that angered me, that brought me to tears. This was just great. It's written so well, and what always gets me about Octavia Butler, I'm sorry, I'm fangirling, biggest day, but what always gets me about Octavia Butler's writings is she wrote these books in the late 70s, mid 80s, early 90s, and they're all based in the future, what would have been at the time when she wrote them, the far future. She puts these things so far, or put past tense, these things so far in the future, yet what is happening is so plausible. It's scary. That's what really got me about Parable of the Sower, and it's still what gets me with Parable of the Talents. There are so many things that have happened in this novel and what's brought the world to where it is in 2024 in the first novel, and I think in this one we are at 2032. So we're almost 10 years in the future, but the things that are taking place are so plausible for today, from where we are right now today. The chaos that the world is in could happen from where we are today. And that's what always just catches me about Octavia Butler, to think and wonder, what would she think if she were still alive today and she saw the world that we are living in today in comparison to the world that she created in her stories. It's scary and it's unnerving, and that is just one of the things that I love about Octavia Butler as a writer. It's why I miss her so much after getting so close to having the opportunity to meet her, and then her dying before that could happen. It's that. If you have not read anything about Octavia Butler, I still suggest that you start with Kindred because that is my favorite Octavia Butler read thus far. So I still suggest that you start with Kindred if you haven't read anything by Octavia Butler. But if you've read Kindred and you want to go a little deeper, then I would suggest this duology. This is a duology because she died. She had writer's block, and then she died before she was able to add more to the story, but there was more to be added. There's a discussion in the back, an interview that she did in the back of this, and it talks about some of the things that she was hoping to do with this, what she had intended to be a series, and it just never came to fruition because she left us before that could happen. But I love this. Absolutely loved it. And I hope that was enjoyable for you, because I don't mind gushing about Octavia Butler. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. Talk to me, and I thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good weekend whenever you see this video. Peace out.